Hi, and welcome to CrewConnect TV. We're here today with Karen Waltham from HR Consulting at Spinnaker Global. Karen.
Hi, Lily. Hi.
So nice to have you here. So, Karen, you just hosted a phenomenal Women in Shipping panel.
Yeah.
How was it?
I hope it started to get the message across. I think it's one of those topics that we talk about elephants in the room. We talk about, I call it dead moose on the table. It's one of those topics that we're all talking about in the industry. I mean, today the US bits and pieces are going on in terms of the midterms. Women, is a topic for whether it's in politics, whether it's in the news, it's everything else. I think for the panel, from the panel's point of view, the message we were trying to get across was, what are we doing about the seafarers? What are we doing about attracting more women in? I think it gave a very diverse range of messages from personal experience, having been on board ships, etc., but also the perhaps the practicality side as well, where you've got the ladies from MSC Shipping, MSC Cruises rather, who were saying a little bit more about the fact that they've got policies in place, etc., etc. So I think there was quite a range. What I would say quite openly is that this is just scratching the surface, because it's about gender is one part of inclusion, and inclusion, it covers everything. And I think one of the things we really ought to pat ourselves on the back with as an industry is that we are globally diverse. I mean, look at us. Look at the conference here. How many nationalities have we got? How many languages are spoken? the mix of people. Even the group now is very diverse. So I think it's starting the conversation. And I think I don't think, as I said in my opening sort of a few comments, is that we wouldn't have had this conversation 4 years ago.
So what kind of conversation were we having 4 years ago?
I think it was very much about. I think it was almost the same old. It was the conversations about how can we get people up the line, how can we find where's talent coming from, what are we doing with different skill sets, etc. But I think it's, as an industry, we've moved. I remember Dito said probably 3 conferences ago, maritime. If it's not broken, you might want to think about breaking it and actually creating change. And I think that the word change is on people's agenda, people's tongue. It's being spoken about. It's not that word that people don't want to talk about. And part of change is that instead of being an environment where we are, and it's overused in other contexts, but male, pale and stale, which is we use it. We've almost gone beyond that phrase in other industries, but actually it's true in the maritime industry. And a person made a comment today about recruiting people. I think it was Andrea that said that men recruit men. That if you put a ban on, and that's happening in the banking industry and other industries. So we're no different. But I think our history has dictated and led us to the situation we're in now, and we've now got to think about how we can effect change and make that happen. And I think that the dialogue is beginning, and I don't think that was even started. I think that was a no-go subject because people didn't understand the benefits that were around.
So what are the benefits actually of larger diversity in this industry specifically?
I think if we just focus on the gender piece, because it's obviously that's the topic that we were talking about, I feel it's much more about having the population is 48 to 52, whatever. And I think that if you quite openly say you're going to discount or disconnect from half, effectively, of the talent pool that society brings and offers, then I think we haven't got our eyes open. We spend a lot of time talking about the demand, etc. So I think from a talent point of view, that's the easiest argument to have. I think the other pieces that we can hang on are that women have different skill sets, they have different preferences, they have different strengths, they have different areas that they prefer not to work in. I don't call them weaknesses or areas of development, but they're different. So I think that if you're bringing a different angle to a job, then that could be a good thing. And I think there will be opportunities where women are better at doing jobs. So not taking the men out, because there are some men who also like to do those things. So it's not discounting everyone. It's just thinking about who's the best person for the job, who's the best. Who's got the best skill set, who's got the best set of behaviours and the attitude and everything else. And instead of just looking at one set of the population, let's enhance everybody else and let's look further, expand further. That's my view.
Karen, thank you so much for sharing
That's
that with
us. That's a
us.
pleasure, and thank you once again. Thanks so much. Thanks, Lily.
No problem.